Hey, John, how's it going? Good to see you. I am going to try to make a cotton field. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how. Never done it, but who knows? So first I'm going to sift together my dirt and mortar mixture. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Add a little red clay in there. I have to sift it because this grout gets a lot of little pebbles stuck together in it. So. Who else we got here? Martin Searsma. Yes, a new cooking show. That's right. Cooking up some cotton. Hopefully. I don't even know if this will be enough. Hang on a second. I should have a. Actually, I'll just use this. I've got a lot of gray grout in here, but that's all I had on hand. I might have to airbrush the field once it dries. Hmm. Didn't mean to do that. can't do that. Gotta get all the little gotta get it in this first. Hey, looks like a few more people joined us. I got a bunch of this grout, but it's stuck. It's been sitting on the shelf so long. Let's see who here. John Schoolkill, how's it going? Awesome. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm endeavoring to make a cotton field. We're going to see how it turns out. I'm using a dirt and grout mixture. Like I said, I've got gray grout here. I thought I had some brown, but I don't. So I'll just use what I have and then airbrush it later if I need to. But you got to sift this grout through a sift where it'll be too lumpy. There's too many little rocks in it. All right, and I'm going to put some more dirt in it. You're right, I do need more water. That's a good thing to do, Rusty. Eat so much you can't move. Okay, so this is my first experiment in doing this. I said, it looks like I'm going to have to, since I didn't have any brown grout, I'm going to have to airbrush this. once I get it laid down the way I want. So I'm trying to make the cotton field about that wide. And of course, it's got to follow the contour of my track. My track's curved here. So I'm going to spread this out. See how much I have. I might have enough to cover the area I need to cover. So I'm going to use my trowel to kind of press it out flat and see what I got. For one thing, I think I need to start with a pretty flat surface. And that might be harder than I think it is. And I'm going right to the edge of the layout. Hey, Roy, what's up? That's true, Martin. A rolling pin would help. But if I went in and got my wife's rolling pin, she would use it on me. So I don't want to really do that. Because a trip to the hospital isn't in this. And I know I'm going to be a little bit messy and push it off on some off on the floor, but that's okay. I can do that. Because I haven't got my. One day I'm going to have my carpet down, and I won't want to be doing this kind of stuff. But actually, this is doing a fairly good job of smoothing it out. So it's still dry right now. I just have to. And I think I'm going to need to put a lot more down, though, because I've got to get it a 1/4 inch thick. So I found this trowel at Home Depot, and it's just about the perfect size for an HO scale cotton field. It's they're 1/4 inch V-shaped teeth, but they're they're spaced apart, and that spacing is about 40 inches, which is perfect for a cotton row. .40 scale inches. So, and then the height is perfect. It's about, well, if I went all the way to the V, it'd be 22 inches high because that's a 1/4 inch. But what I'm going to do is once I get the V's made, I'm going to flatten the top just a little bit. So this is correct. Like I say, I think I'm going to have to put a lot more in it to build it up a 1/4 inch. It's not that thick right now. But it is, this trowel is smoothing it out nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to try something real quick. Yep, it's not near deep enough. All right, let me make some more. In fact, I'm going to use probably the rest of my dirt here. Now this dirt will turn a little darker too once I wet it. Sure, the cat is enjoying my dust that I'm creating with the grout. Hey, Mystic John, how's it going? Yeah, that would have been a good idea, a rolling pin. I wish you had been around an hour or so ago because I could have bought a rolling pin. Well, these little bits of grout are falling over the side, contaminating my smooth stuff. Yeah, I guess it gets some moisture in it. It hardens. Yep, I just got to get what's on the layout a little bit thicker. I was going to try, and I might still have to if this doesn't work. I was going to try fluted uh, cardboard, and I said, well, what would look better to represent dirt than dirt? So I thought I'd try it first. I've kind of been doing that off camera. But this is a number 60 screen. I bought this off of Amazon, and it's extremely fine, and it's good for sifting stuff like this. The problem is I overfilled it, and it's spilling out the top. So make sure none of those hard bits get in my mix. And you can't pack it because if the screen is so fine, it won't go through. I actually have too much in here. I'm going to dump some out. Now, there we go. So you can see when you sift what it leaves. So that's what I'm trying to get rid of. All right. Pour that out now. And what else is that in here? A little more red clay I've got there. I've got to go out and get some more dirt. I was like finding construction sites because I can get dirt that way. Lots of it, different colors and. Now I think I might have enough to build up a quarter inch layer of dirt. Take a sip of coffee and look at the chat, see what I've missed. Oh, let's see. Dwight, did I miss saying hi to you? I might have. Kyle, how's it going? All right. Yeah, I think this will work now. I'm going to spread it out first with my hands here. Then I'll go along with the trowel. Like I said, if it's not the right color, I can always come back in with an airbrush and change that. So. Well, it's getting smooth. Move some of this. I've got some up near the tracks, and I don't want to. My cotton field's not going to run right up to the track. So I can take that. Thing is trying to get this even. Before I put the little teeth to it. So I've got to get it on the ends as even as it is, or as high as it is in the middle. And That's a little bit of a challenge without knocking it down too much in the middle. I think it's just about good enough. Once I put the rose in there. So what I'm going to try to do first is make the rose and then wet it. Is somebody going to say, no, don't do that? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to work best at this point. I think I keep saying I think it's smooth enough, and then I keep going back and saying, no, it's not. All right. Hey, Stormy, how's it going? Jenny and Steve and Dave, and I think I got that all three names right. I hope I did. All right. So let's see what happens. Don't like that. So I'll try it again. That's a great thing about it not being wet. If I don't like it, I can just try it again. Yeah. I think I'm going to it'll take a little bit longer, but I think I'm going to try the short edge. Let's see what happens. The only problems are these high spots here. And I haven't figured out how I'm going to take care of those yet. But one thing at a time. Problem is sometimes it's taken all of the dirt with it, and I don't want to do that. This is coming off. That was the end. Now, I just got to figure out what I'm going to do with the high spots. And I'm not a very guy. Obviously, I can't plow my furrows as straight as I should, but will that make a difference? I don't know. Hey, Tom, how's it going? See you, Kyle. So I don't know. I should move that. I don't know how well y'all can see what I'm doing. But I'm trying. Make these as straight as possible. I'm getting to the end and I'm curving off. I don't like that. There. Now, like I said, I'm just my field's going to end here. So. All right, is this a success? I don't know. I have fields. All right, so I am going to wet them. This is just wet water, so it's water and alcohol and a drop of dish soap, and it's one of those one of those misting things that. Since it's got grout in it, it should hold it. It should let it set up a little bit. You have to mist it because I can't destroy my rows, that's for sure. So my rows are about right at a 1/4 inch high, maybe a little less. And a 1/4 inch in scale is 22 inches. So which is about the right height for a row. So these are probably 20 inches. I figure any mistakes I've made once I get my cotton plants in there, and I have these from JT&T, or JTT rather. Any mistakes I made will kind of be hidden. I like this little mister. I got it for $8 at Hobby Lobby, and I think they sell the same thing. Micro Mark sells the same thing. I'm not sure how much theirs is. What I'll do is after this dries, since it's got, like I said, it's got grout in it, so that'll help it set a little bit. And then I'm going to come back with some spray adhesive, probably just glue, and mist over it again. And hopefully this holds enough for me to put my cotton plants in. But it's almost the exact scale. That particular trowel is almost the exact size that it needs to be for HO scale. And I got to be careful because one thing I don't want to do is flood this with wet water. So that's what it looks like so far. As you can kind of see. And once it dries, like I said, I'll come back with some glue, some 50-50 mix of Elmer's glue and water, and straighten it. Because you see, since I flooded it right here, see what happened? I don't like that, but I can probably fix it. Yeah, those kinds of mistakes can be hidden, I think. I hope. Like I said, I figured what's better to make dirt than dirt, right? Hey, Daryl, what's going on? So that's that. When are the biscuits going to be done? I might be even come back once it's dry and put another layer on the places that are not exactly right. So, yes, that's what I'm trying to do, Tom, is recreate cotton fields. So, like I said, was thinking about using fluted cardboard to do it, but I wanted to try this first and see how it worked out. You can see I've got my rows there. So, and then I'll put my little JTT cotton plants in there. And the way it looks, I'm going to have a lot more packages. But they're pretty full, so the spacing might be okay. They're a ½ inch, it says, but I don't know. That's 4 feet tall in HO scale. Do cotton plants get 4 feet high? I don't know. But too, once you push them in the ground, they'll probably be a little bit lower. And here's a cat. Thanks, John. Yeah, it is. Yeah, just think of how many jeans I can make. Pairs of jeans with all that cotton, right? Yeah, Louisiana, I mean, at this time in the 70s was one of the major crops was cotton. So that's kind of gone away. I mean, they still grow cotton, but since we shipped everything to China, you know how that is. So that's let's see. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think I can make it work with hiding it with the cotton plants. Yes, John, if you don't have a cat, you can't have a layout in Texas. We got to get Jack a cat. Well, thanks, Daryl. And like I said, it's just an experiment. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Um, I've some of it looks good, and then some of it's so. I'll wait to see till it's completely dried, and like I said, I'll spray some diluted glue, Elmer's glue, on it, and hopefully it holds up. Hey, Art, how are you doing? Yeah, I've just got to make sure it. Just got to make sure it holds up, and like I said, I'm hoping with that grout mixed in with it that it does. But after it's dry, I can go and sprinkle some more, and then come back along with my trowel, and it should be fine. I hope. It's an experiment. Never done it before. I don't know if anybody else has tried it. I've never seen anybody try it, so uh, it's just a guess. Yeah, well, Tom, I grew up around here. There was a lot of cotton fields where I grew up, so it's usually the rows are about 3 feet apart. Uh, the hills are about 20 inches high or so. So that's 20 to 30, maybe even. So this is, like I said, this is 22 inches. This particular trowel. So we'll see. We will see what happens. If not, I can always scrape it up and go with the fluted cardboard idea. Yeah. Yeah. So Tom, the I have these cotton plants from JTT. This is what I'm using for the plants. So luckily they made them. JTT makes some good plants. Tobacco, rhubarb, it shows on the back of the package. Cabbage, tomatoes, pumpkins, watermelons. That's one reason I said my layout set in fall of '76 is because my cotton plants have already bloomed, and they usually pick them around the end of September, first part of October. They'll harvest the cotton, so that's why I set my layout in the fall of 1976. Yeah, I know. I've only got one, two, three, four, five, six. So I've only got 7 of these. I might have to get a lot more. Yeah, another crop they grow down in Louisiana is sugarcane too. So, and they still grow a lot of that. So I'm just waiting to see how this works out. Like I said, I know I can't sit here and let it dry. I'm going to let it dry overnight before I put the diluted glue mixture on it. Yeah, because I'm going to try to space them, realistically. And it's going to be hard without damaging my rows. But hopefully, that diluted glue mixture, once I spray it, will keep them up. Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. I have a cotton compress facility on my siding, so that will I'll have to do something more with that. I do have one little package of cotton bales, And I need to find some more of those, definitely. A bunch more. No, Tom, I'm not pre-drilling the holes. I'm kind of afraid to. Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to pre-drill holes in here. I'm just gonna wait till it dries and see what happens. What? Cat's talking to me. I think he wants to go outside, so hang on a second. No, he didn't want to go outside. Oh well. I hope. If not, I can. If not, I can. Use a little drill bit. Like a number 60 or something to drill a hole to push them in there. I hope. Like I said, this is all a big experiment because I have no idea. Yeah, I know what you mean about that. I don't think I've ever seen a cotton field. Obviously, somebody's done it, but because otherwise JTT wouldn't be making the cotton plants. So, chow, chow, chow. Yeah, but so I haven't seen anybody on YouTube. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, like I said, we'll see what happens. And these rows are pretty typical for any kind of agriculture product. So, you could use it for corn or wheat or anything like that. So, yeah, that's a good idea, Tom. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he's down there eating, and now I don't know where he went. Yeah. That's a good. Now I have, of course, the dirt here is just under that pink foam stuff. So yeah, but you're right. That doesn't, the stems won't push down into that very easily. So I don't know. Yeah, there you go. I do have a feed and farm store, so that's a good idea. Finding the equipment though, and finding it in my era, that's the big problem. A lot of times you find this farm equipment stuff, and it's either modern era, you know, or it's way back 40s stuff, and so finding 50s equipment is what's going to be, or 70s equipment is what's going to be hard. Of course, there was a lot of 50s equipment still being used in the 70s, but it was kind of being phased out, stuff that was 20 years old. Yeah, I could do that. Wow, 20 years. That's good for a cat. To be alive that long. That's great. Yeah, that's true, Tom. I could get some flat loads kind of like that for my flat cars. That would be great. I've got a few flat cars that are just nothing on them, so. Wow, Possum, 18. Y'all have some long-lived cats, I tell you. Yeah, our last two cats that we had before we got the ones that we have now, they both lived till they were 14, and that was it. Yeah, most cotton would be mechanically picked by the 70s. That's true. There was, you didn't see a lot of people out in the field picking cotton in the 70s. So, yeah, I need to find some equipment like that. I'll be on the lookout. Anybody else? If you find 1970s, 60s, 70s equipment that would be prototypical for cotton fields, let me know. So, yeah, yeah, 76 specifically, but any kind of farm stuff from the 60s or 70s would be prototypical. Probably if it was being carried on a flat car, it'd be new, so it would have to be mid 70s. So, that's like I said, that's the problem. Everybody wants to make steam era stuff or they want to make modern stuff. And the 70s, it's hard to find vehicles, that kind of stuff. I don't whenever I see a 70s era vehicle or late 60s, I grab it because it's just they're just few and far between. What? Okay, Art, I didn't get that. Yeah, S scale, right, I know. Red people or green people? I have no idea what you're meaning by that. Rick, I haven't in a while. It's been probably a couple of years since I've looked on that website. Oh, I see what you're saying. International or John Deere. Okay. I think there's a kind of a mix, but you know what? I think people leaned more towards international stuff down here. Yeah, I wish there would be somebody that would make a lot of HO scale stuff, of all eras. And there's just not. You have to wait for it now, and then when it comes out, if you don't buy it right away, chances are you're not going to get it because of the way the manufacturers work their business. Uh, and the problem with that is when it comes out right away, you have to end up buying it all, but you got to mortgage your house because of the cost of it. So I was looking at Atlas is coming out with the new 20,000-gallon tank cars, and they want $55 a piece for them. Well, if you buy any significant number, if you buy 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever like that, you're dropping $500, and that's crazy. Yeah, see you, John. Have a good evening. That's it's just crazy what they're asking, and then like I said, you can't get it later on because they only make X number, and then that's it, which is kind of silly because once you've got the design, that's the cost. You know, the manufacturer is not the cost; it's all in the design. So I'm not sure why they do things like that. You know what? And the bad thing about Atlas is, I mean, it might look nice, but they come with those goofy plastic couplers that are completely useless. So the first thing you have to do is change them to Katie's. So you spend an extra $5 right off the bat just changing the couplers because their couplers are junk. So, and because you have to change the couplers, you risk knocking the little air hose off and all other kinds of details, and then you can't just put it on the layout. Yeah. Yeah, the cost is becoming prohibitive. I'm glad I'm at a point of where I have most of my buildings and pretty much all the cars I want, although I'll buy cars from time to time. But it's, if you were just starting out, I don't see how you can afford it. No, that's a good idea, Rick. Finding toys at tractor dealers. That's true. Once in a while, you will see those. So I don't know. We've got a little test area here. Yeah, it's still quite. Um, I don't know how one of these misters would work with glue in it. So I do have a spray glue bottle down here somewhere. Actually, I have this Elmer's adhesive, and I'm just going to test it on a little section. I've got a little test section. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Rick. It's $90 for one flat car. That's crazy. What you used to pay for a locomotive, you're now paying for a freight car. That's why a lot of people, can't afford to get into the hobby. Missed it. It looks like it's doing well. I would have missed it with this. So I've got this Elmer's spray glue, spray adhesive, and it's a strong adhesive. It's solvent based. It's not water based. I'm going to spray it on here. Since I've got everything wet. So we'll see how that works. It takes longer to dry. So. One thing you can do with this that's really good, if you want a field of flowers, spray this on your grass. Like if you have static grass, spray this on it. And it'll leave little, looks like droplets. And then you can touch them with a paintbrush and it'll look like little flowers on your grass. Even if you don't touch them, it just looks like little white flowers. So it's one thing I found out by accident. So John, what temperature is my train room? Well, I have my air conditioner set to 72, so it kind of stays around that. Yeah. Well, that's a good idea, Derail Daryl. So heat it in the microwave. Okay. Good. Yeah, that's what this is. This is an Elmer's. It's not PVA, but it's but I have used it on a couple of things. So we'll see. I just used it on that dirt. So we'll see what happens to it. Yeah, and John, it stays about 72, but it's, it fluctuates a little bit based on how hot or how cold it gets, but it stays right around that. Yeah, but getting back to the price of things, it's got to the point of where something's got to give. The problem is, that they're making that stuff for next to nothing in China. So I just don't get it, and I don't get why they go through all the design cost and then want to sell X amount and never sell any more again. There's some stuff I would love to have. I was looking the other night. I forget what company it was, but they made 40-foot trailers, refrigerated trailers, and they were one of them. The one I want is Kroger, the grocery store, and they made them a couple years ago, and now you can't find them. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that? I would love to have one of those 40-foot Kroger trailers. They had the little elephant on the side. It said plaid stamps because that was the name of their trading stamps they used to give. And I've looked all over the internet and I can't find one. I haven't seen one in a train store. Haven't seen one at a train show. So you think So, Tom, you think that the cost is in line with what they should be? And one thing is I understand the process of design. Design is where all the money is. That's why I don't understand why don't you make a lot more and sell those over time, because the manufacture process is what's cheap, the design process is expensive. Yeah, the design and tooling, oh, that's expensive. So the hourly wage is equal to the cost of lunch. Nisi, how's it going? Yeah, I just don't know how that's sustainable for the average person. As we get older, we get closer to retirement. Of course, we have more disposable income. A lot of us, some don't. And if you want to do the hobby, it's hard. So I don't know. I don't like and people just getting into the hobby. I think since it's so cost prohibitive, that's a little feature that turns them off. Um, no, that's not to say that that's probably the main thing. That's uh, the main reason the hobby's dwindling is just because of how society is. That's what I believe. Society is just not not like it used to be. Time is taken up with other things, and there's a lot of distractions. So people don't get into hobbies like they used to. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, and you're right. No one's going to make anything without it being pre-sold. But to me, I don't know. Well, it seems like all the time that's spent on design would just be more than the manufacturer. I don't know. Alls I know is it's getting too expensive. Yeah, and I think the hobby is dwindling, not because it's model trains, but just because that's the whole thing of society is percentage wise, maybe not numbers wise, but percentage of the population. And so you don't have the people don't participate in things, they don't join clubs like they used to, and that's all over. That's not just model trains. uh, and because of that, I mean, you can see it in bowling leagues, anywhere. You don't have the number of people you used to have, and really even just the number, not just the percentage, but the number of people that used to do that kind of stuff. There are people that do it and will always do it, but I don't I don't think the numbers are what they were, and I don't think they'll ever go up to be what they were. Yeah, and in some ways it's strong. But strength isn't always numbers. Uh, you can have less people, but have them more dedicated, and I think that's where we are. And that's true too, Daryl. You know, politics. If you want to go to a train club, you want to go to a train club to run trains. You know, whether you agree with the politics there or not, or you know, whether it's inner club politics, people that want to be in charge or whatever. That's yeah, you can find good train clubs and bad ones, I'm sure, but most of us, when we go to train clubs, we want to run trains. That's true, Tom. I'm not. The level of detail has come way up. I will agree with you 100%. Where that didn't used to happen. An Athearn Blue Box, the old F. That's one reason they retooled the old F7s is because they were so wrong that they had to was one of the reasons. Carved out of a bar of soap, a 70s brass steam engine. I don't know. I've seen some good ones. I don't know. I mean, we could talk about that all night, but and I'm sure we all have different opinions on it. Like I said, I don't think the hobby has the numbers it used to have. Let's put it that way. As far as the dedication of people in the hobby, I think that's come way up, and there is strength in that. Yeah, but Nisi, we all want to buy everything at once, don't we? No, John, there are not any train stores near me. Not one. Dallas is the closest one. And that's too bad, Rick. I mean, you know, that's model train clubs is where you should go to learn. You know, you have that's one reason I'm glad for our YouTube community is because we learn so much from each other. Uh, and I would hope most train clubs would be like that. Money and do you clean bathrooms? Three model railroaders in the same town, two clubs. Yeah. And you know, it's funny. I don't know. Sometimes model railroaders are the best kept secret in the world. Uh, Try to find some around where I live. I know they exist, but you know, where are they? Yeah, and I didn't want to start a political discussion on that either, but I wish there were some cars. I do wish there were some freight cars out there, and I think they could do this. Some decently detailed freight cars, not completely. The Walthers mainline stuff should be, you know, $15, and it's closer to 25. But I would hope that there's some, you know, the low line Bachman stuff is just out for most people. It's just because there's no detail at all, and it's basically just their old stuff with new couplers on it. That's a good idea, Bob. People, and maybe you could, but yeah, that doesn't seem to happen much anymore. And you're right, Tom. You used to meet people at a hobby shop, and the hobby shops don't exist. Like I said, the closest one to me is in Dallas. Um, so where do I go? Uh, Tyler, Texas, which is about 35 miles from me, has a hobby town. That's the chain, and they don't really sell trains. I mean, they're mostly into RC stuff. They've got a few things, but yeah, the Athearn Roundhouse and those molds have been around for years and years and years, and I don't know. I just feel like they should be a little bit lower for people. And some of the Roundhouse stuff is pretty good. I'm not knocking it. Um, yeah, that's it, Rick, and that shouldn't be. That's funny that people won't. Uh, Maybe that's one of the reason my perception is that there's a lot fewer people in the hobby is because you don't run into them anymore. Yeah, that's right, Tom. Yeah, I know. There are always those people that make other people uncomfortable, and that's great, Daryl. You know, you live in a place that's got 4 hobby shops, busy all the time. Wish I could say that. The last hobby shop. I mean, think about that. So I'm in a town where the closest hobby shop to me is Dallas, 120 miles away. And that doesn't even make any sense. Fred, how's it going? Yeah, and the Athearn Blue Box and the Roundhouse stuff is really good, and you can get some nice stuff. That is one reason I do like train shows because even if you like details, you can buy the details and add them. It's real easy on an Athearn Blue Box or Roundhouse to do that. Yep, Dibbles is always good. I remember when I lived down there, Fred. I was in there all the time. I hope nobody on YouTube, Nisi, tells you that you're doing it wrong. It's your railroad, and if it looks good to you, that's great. But you can pick up tips, and you know, and my tips aren't always right, and other people's aren't always right, and sometimes they are right. So yeah, I wish I had somebody local to help me with my layout, just so I could have somebody build buildings. We all have that thing in the hobby we hate to do. Mine's building buildings. I just loathe and despise building buildings or structures of any type. I've got a bridge that I need to do for my lift out section that I've had it over a year, and I've gotten the base done, and that's it. Yeah, and it's yeah, Rick, I kind of like to do that too. That's true. I do see that. The best way to ballast. Well, good grief. Sometimes the best way to ballast, it would take me 5 years to get my entire railroad done if I followed the best way, according to the video. Yeah, I know, Nisi. A lot of people don't like wire and track. That's that's see, I don't mind doing that. That's funny. That would be a good thing in a club is you make, everybody does what they're like doing. Yeah, Bob, I wish we would have seen you at Timonium this past uh this past time because we had a good time, all of us there. But I'm going to do it again next year, so if that makes you happy, Rick, then that's the correct stuff. Yeah. You try to use all the parts this time. Yeah, I've got that Central Valley Bridge, the 200-foot one, single track, and I've gotten the deck built, but that's as far as I've gotten in a year. But I really can't do my lift out section without it, so I'm gonna have to buckle down and just do it. Daryl, you're so lucky. You got 4 train stores within driving distance. That is that's crazy. See, with 4 train stores, Tom, I'd have to rent a truck or a moving van because that's what I'd do. When I went up this year to uh, visit everybody with the Timonium train show, I ended up on the way back stopping at a train store. Well, I went to a train store there in Jeanette, Pennsylvania, with Wilmer, and then I went on the way back. I stopped at another one in Columbus, and that's great. If I had been going further over west in Missouri, or up towards Kansas City, I would have stopped at some more. So, but that's the problem because I'm so starved for train stores that when I do find one, I go crazy at it. So. And I like buying stuff that I can look at first a lot of times. I mean, there's some things you don't have to look at, you know what they are, but there's some things you want to, and a lot of train stores will have bargain bins, and that's a good thing. That's when I bought this wood chip hopper. It was out of the bargain bin, $10. So, and I like it. It's done well. I don't know who it is. Anybody recognize it? It might be an Accurail. I don't know. But yeah, $10 and it's nicely done. Separate ladders. Yeah, I understand, Bob. 2 people, that's good, Bob. If you can get 2 people to come and work on your layout. So that looks like a Walthers. Okay. I didn't know who it was because it, like I said, it was just in a bin by itself. So, and it already had steel wheels on it and scale head couplers. So that's something else I didn't have to spend money on for $10. The scale head couplers and the steel wheels or the metal wheels were worth that. So, where's Caboose Stop Hobbies? I've heard of them and I buy stuff from them online. Weaver. I'm not familiar with Weaver. Yeah, it's good when you can go to, you know, and see it and touch it and pick it up and look at it and decide. What would I like to see made? One thing that not only KCS had these, but a lot of railroads had them. They were very similar to this 40-foot, but this is just an Athearn 40-foot. They were very similar to this, but the sill ran straight across the bottom. I mean, it didn't. You see where these sills go down? So the sill would go down here, like on, let me see a 50-footer. Hold on. Here we go. So you see how the sill is on this 50-footer? KCS had a lot of 40-foot box cars with that same type of sill. And no one that I can find makes one. I would love to see a 40-foot box car made like that. And like I said, it wasn't just KCS, it was a lot of other railroads that had that same box car. What else would I like to see made? I would like to see more of a variety in road names. Well, that's great. Atlas boxcar at local NMRA. So, Rick, you run 3-rail O gauge. Okay. Yeah, it seems like when a manufacturer makes something, all the manufacturers make the same thing. And that's just, I mean, Rapido just made these and they did a good job on them. I like them. These X72 boxcars, I think that's what they are, X72s. Yeah. But everybody made them with the same road names. Make something different. Just make something different. That's all I want. Somebody make something else. I would like to see more variety in the road names. You end up with Pennsy, Penn Central, uh, Conrail, and everybody the same thing, same thing, same thing. And it's just sometimes it's like, okay, I know KCS had the same car. Make one in KCS, please. So I don't have to paint it. So going back again, but anyway, that's it. Going back, Daryl, yes, your wife wanted to. Same thing, Tom. Your wife wanted to see before buying as well. See my paycheck and health benefits. uh, yeah, that's right. There were more than 6 roads in 1975, and it just you get the same ones over and over and over. Hey, Randall, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, Rick, I think that's it too. They get they all get together and go, we're going to make all this. Everybody's going to make tier 4 Gevos. And then that's what they make. I guess what makes me bitter is I have to do a lot of my own painting. And I wish I could just get something out of the box and put it on the layout. Because and you would think, especially now, KCS would be kind of up front, because of the merger and all. People would want to see more KCS stuff. But I would like to be able to buy something and put it on my layout without having to paint it. I don't mind painting. I like painting and detailing stuff, but to have to do it to everything gets kind of annoying. Oh, scale, the king of scales, yeah. Yeah. And the white, it's not the paint job itself, it's the stripping. And even with the little blaster, it's better. But that's yeah, I shouldn't say the painting is the big deal, it's the stripping. If I can find undecorated of the right thing, I'm just way ahead of the game. But wow, having to strip paint before you paint it. Randall's waiting for a crew. I don't know if the E8s had names. Yeah, Bob, that's it. I've got a few myself. I've got 6 wood chip hoppers that I'm modifying, and then I've got I've got 2 locomotives that I'm waiting to paint. So yeah, Rick, that's right. It is expensive. Yeah, the Jeep 40s didn't come along till about 79, so I don't have to have those, luckily. Um, yeah, and the Jeep 9s were still around. They had two, so six, either 5 or 6 Jeep 9s. So they didn't have many. See you, Nisi. Glad you stopped in. Yeah, Rick, O scale is. Uh, Is expensive, I know. Do they make any two rail O scale? Some fine scale stuff in O? I don't know. I'm just not up on O scale that much. Yes, I've got plenty of F units. In fact, KCS, well, up through the 80s, they were using F units as regular motive power. And then late 80s, early 90s, they started using them as slugs. So, oh yeah, I've got F units. I've got two. So I've got this. I've got my little weathered one, just weathered a little bit. And then I've got this one. I've just got to put couplers in it. Couplers, and I have to put the vent windows on the side, and then it's done. So this was a Highliner shell I used for this one. Yeah, I've never seen any two rail O scale. Yeah, there were 3 white F units in my era. That's one of them, and I've got another one waiting to be finished. And then that's all I'm going to do is 2 of them. And then I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 red F units. Yeah, there's Steve Davis has a real nice KCS layout. His is set in 1982, and he has operating sessions once a month, but he lives up in Oklahoma. I haven't made it up to one, but I am going to this year, hopefully. Yard switchers, I've got an MP15 and I've got some SW7s. So that's the ones I did the review on, the Walthers SW7s. And then the Atlas MP15. KCS had some NW2s at the same time, and they had SW1500s as well. No, I think those were just DCs, and they only had 4 of them. One thing that KCS did do that I like is they always carried a cooler on the back, an Igloo cooler. So I put one on the back of this MP15, and I'm gonna put one on the back of the other ones too. Because down in Louisiana, it gets warm, and they're out there in the yard the whole day. So 2 of the Jeep 9s were originally Jeep 7s and were rebuilt, and then they actually bought some of those Phase 3 Jeep 9s new. There were either 3 or 4 of them. And then the Jeep 38s they bought new as well. They were Jeep 38-2s. Those were bought new as well. I have one, and I'm in the process of doing another one. So. The problem with Jeep 38s is finding the one with the extended range dynamic brake. That's the I found this one. It didn't have it, but the little midsection lifted off. It's an Atlas, and I found somebody who had made one on eBay, and I haven't been able to find them again. So, but having two of them is going to be enough. And they had Jeep 30s at the time and Jeep 7s, of course. Yeah, so Daryl, everything, all the starting in 67 or 68, whenever they ordered the SD 40s, they came in white. In 69, they had, because of accidents, they had painted two Jeep 30s white. And the Jeep 38s, when they ordered those, they were all in white. And they eventually painted everything white. And in the late 80s, they started painting gray. Yep, I have a red one and a white one. So I have to renumber this white one. These are those Protos. And then hang on a second. And then here's my red one. This is also a Proto. So this one was almost correct. The only thing I had to do, which I can understand why it wasn't done originally, but so down here, I don't know if you could tell, along here, there's a red stripe. So I did a red stripe decal on the real engines. They were that reflective red stripe. I don't know how well you can see it. It's hard to see, but anyway, there is a red stripe there, and then the cab number was right here, the little 3-inch cab number. So I had to add those two things, and that was, and of course the ACI label. But and then I changed the numbers because these red ones came with the 3-digit numbers. So in 74, KCS went to all 4-digit numbers on their Jeep 30s. So. Yeah, they did. I replaced them. I replaced the axles. That's the first thing you do when you get a Walthers, a lifelike Proto 2000 is replace the axles. Yeah, I guess they did make an ICG, but I don't remember seeing one. No, Rapido's doing 30s, and I contacted them. I hope they do some KCS Jeep 30s, especially in their Rivet Counter edition, because I would love to have one, because I would sure buy at least one, maybe two. I'm hoping if they do make them, that they make them for all the eras. You know, that they make the 3-digit cab numbers, and then make them 4-digit, and then move up to the 80s where they were all painted white. That would be nice. Oh, is Rapido doing a Jeep 38 also? Waycross, how's it going? Well, if they're doing Jeep 38s, I hope nobody has ever done as delivered KCS Jeep 38. So it would be nice if somebody did one. I'm going to give my cotton fields a mist here again with this spray adhesive. So Daryl, you're partial to UP. UP's not bad. I think everybody's just mad at them because they bought everybody. You know? Well, Tom, I would appreciate it if you could ever find one. That would be great to have. I guess that would make a nice flat car load. Well, thanks, Tom. That's a pretty good idea, Waycross. But the only thing I got to do, am I talking about my Jeep 30 though, is I'm waiting on a horn for it. I just ordered a horn. Should have them in a couple of days. They had Nathan K3s, and I did not have any in my parts bin that I have out at my workshop. So I had to order some Nathan K3s. All right, Art, we'll take it easy. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, Tom, it's set in Louisiana, central Louisiana. I'm from northern Louisiana, from Shreveport, but the place where I have picked to set my layouts in central Louisiana, in Alexandria. So that's it was a small yard they had there, about 5 or 6 tracks. But there were a lot of, when the locals ran, there were a lot of stops, mainly though timber. So a lot of wood chip and pulpwood, but some oil too, and of course a lot of boxcars. Every railroad ran boxcars. I took a little bit of liberties with my layout. I put a grain elevator on it, which isn't out of place, but just wasn't on the subdivision that I'm modeling. But there were just some nice grain cars, so I figured I had to put a grain elevator on, just for some variety. Yep, that's right. They bought Burlington, Santa Fe, Norfolk Southern, Conrail, Pins. Yeah. Huh. I did not know that. That's a good thing, Tom. So Mopac bought UP, but kept the UP name. Huh. That's good. You know, Rick, I haven't seen any farm shows around here. I'll have to look for some more of those, but you're right. Because sometimes you can find toys at those, and the odd time you can get some 187th scale stuff. What I would love to see a manufacturer do, though, is KCS's um, wood chip cars, but they were homemade, so I doubt anybody will ever come up with one. And I think y'all have seen them before on my layout, but if you haven't, this is what they look like. So, but these are so unique, and KCS were the like I said, they built them in their car shops. So I'd love to see somebody make these. Yeah, the mergers are a mystery to me. All of those mergers that happen, I just know what names are left. But I wish instead of the coming up with weird stuff, weird units like they have with these weird paint jobs, I wish they would go back and take what I would call heritage units. Paint like BNSF. If they would paint more Santa Fe units and more Burlington Northern units and more Burlington units, I would love to see something like that. Or take UP and paint up some SP engines or cotton belt engines. I think that would be quite interesting. And I know another good thing that a lot of people don't model that maybe people should look at modeling more are these short lines, especially if you've got a switching layout. Um, Yeah, and I understand why people don't model short lines, because a lot of time the paint schemes aren't readily available, so you end up having to paint all your locomotives. And believe me, I understand that problem, uh, even with KCS. But yeah, a lot of people don't model actual short lines. You'll see some people model, um, their own short line, but it would be great to see people model more actual short lines. Chris, how's it going? Artie, what's up? All the way from Australia. So your uncle was an engineer on the Frisco. That's pretty neat. Shorts make one feel small. Yeah, we had a short line in Louisiana, kind of near where I live, North Louisiana and Gulf, and it would great. I know Athearn made a couple box cars for them, but it would have been great to see some more locomotives and things done in the North Louisiana and Gulf uh, paint scheme. So Daryl, we ate a whole box of Whoppers. Wow. Yep, malted milk chocolate. Yeah, I'm kind of glad we've gotten into a lot of discussions this evening. I've been enjoying it. Um, After I did my cotton fields, so it's still kind of drying. You can see, not perfect. Like I'm probably gonna have to fix in here, and some of these kind of disintegrated with the water, but most of them made it. So, but the glue's still drying on those. So, and then I'll put the cotton plants on when all that's dry. So. Rapido calls you guys like you a freelancer railroad of lies. Well, one thing good about it, Tom, is you don't have to worry about it like I do, because that's one reason I have to repaint everything, is to get it into the right era or renumber everything, so you don't have to worry about that with your railroad, so that's a good thing. Hey, Bob's back. Just couldn't stay away, huh? Put these cars back before I forget where they go. Because I'll be doing a JMRI manifest. I'll be looking all over for them. Could you imagine HO scale boll weevils? Nobody could see them. Yeah, that's okay, Rick. They can be from all different time periods. And that's not completely unprototypical anyway, because I know when I was growing up in the 70s, you'd still find buildings around town from the late 1800s. So so that's not a big deal. Hey, that's okay, Artie. You can do that. That's what Rock Island did, right? That's been long gone, but then they started a railroad with that name again. Yeah, mini prints will make boll weevils. They would be smaller than a speck of dust. I would just have to sprinkle them out on my cotton plants. Yeah. Oh, my little camera's moving on its own. Must have ghost or something. Huh. Okay, I got to fix my camera here. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I need to plug in my computer. I don't want to run out of juice in the middle. Let's see, Wheatcross. I'd like to prototype. I'd like to prototype railroad like SCL. You track the scenery and look at Google Earth, zoom down, looking. Yeah, that's one thing that modern modelers have is they can go out and look at something and see how it looks now. Some of us want to model back into a certain era. We can't go and it's hard unless you can find a photograph of something. It's hard to model something that did exist. What drink goes good with Cheez-Its? Oh, Dr. Pepper? I don't know. If it was a moon pie, I'd tell you get a RC cola. So I don't know about Cheez-Its. That's good, Rick. Pork rinds, there you go. So what would you call giant ants and spiders on the layout? I don't know, because I get spiders and ants on my layout too. Yeah, Chris, I'm not sure. I bet Tom could tell you exactly. You know, short line. I don't know if it's the distance, number of tracks, or or the amount of tonnage that's carried. Uh, in a year, or what uh, defines the classes. Or to be a short line, even if you can be a short line and still be a class 2, 3, or 4. Is it track distance? I don't know. Short line is a rail fan. Now, see, I thought it was a term for monopoly. That's where I that's where I first heard it. Because you got what? You got the Reading, the B&O, the short line, and what's the other in the Pennsylvania on the monopoly board. So that's where I get the term short line from. Heath, what's up? Yeah, Godzilla cats on Rickshaw. There you go. I have one of those. Yeah, so the 1, 2, 3 is based on mileage in tons. So Heath, are you done in Colorado, or are you back home? Oh, okay. So you're on the bus going back home from the airport. Cool. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope we see some good videos out of that. Is a prototype model railroad like Class 1 from 70s? Is it easy to model or better to freelance and still be? Well, here's what I say. If you want to model an actual Class 1, go ahead and do it. Just realizing that as modelers, there is no actual prototype because we don't have a room for it. We'd have to buy a mall or something like that to put our trains in. So what you have to do, you've got to a degree, you've got to freelance anyway. And although you've got to pick and choose what you want to be prototypical. A lot of times, if you have a location, you'll want to get maybe specific buildings that represent that specific location or something like that. It's just kind of up to you. But that's like me. I've got a yard, Alexandria, Louisiana. It's not exactly like Alexandria's yard. It's close to it, but I've got the old Alexandria passenger station because that was one of the landmarks at that location. So that's what you kind of got to do. Yeah, be quiet, Heath. Yeah, and Tom, you're absolutely right. Following a prototype will give you a little more guidance in what you're doing. So that's one reason I like it, because then I can limit to certain cars. I can limit myself to certain locomotives. I don't have just everything, but if you want to have that, that's okay too. That's a good thing, Artie. No, I think I came on after Sidetrack Sunday. I hope I did. Hope I didn't step on those guys' toes. If I did, I didn't mean to. I looked and I didn't see anybody doing a live stream before I started, so I was just doing my cotton field, Heath, so I decided to just do it on a live stream because I'm just doing it as a test. I don't know Don't know how it'll turn out in the end, but hopefully it does. I'm going to have to go back and redo some of it, but that's okay. That's what happens when you go on vacation, Heath. Yeah, I'm the after party. That's exactly what happens when you go on vacation. You lose track of time, space, everything. My track is sure dirty. I'm glad I have Keep Alives. I think I have the dirtiest track in the world. I can clean it, and 5 minutes later, it'll have corrosion on top of the rails. All right, Randy, train's there, huh? Yeah, well, Waycross, that's what I model is 70, 76 specifically. Specifically, the fall of 76. So that's so I can have my cotton field with cotton in it. So that's after all the 4th of July festivities that happened that year. That's right, Chris. Don't you hate when manufacturers do that? Why did they have to do that? Now I want that. There are a few things though they come up with, and I really like Exact Rail. I love their stuff. And of course, they come up with some very odd stuff. 45 days, John Dilly goes on permanent vacation. I wish I could say that. I found this at the train show. This is an Exact Rail. I mean, this is something that nobody's ever done. But they did an excellent job on this waffle-sided boxcar, and I loved it. Was I planning on buying? I didn't even know anything like this existed, and I walked by it and I said, "Wow, that looks great. I've got to get it." So I did. Now I can't get it back on the track. There we go. Tangent does too. You're right, Randall. They do. I've got some of their stuff too. Yep. I think 1977 was a good year. Since that's so close to what I model. Bob retired 23 years. Wow, I can't even imagine. Yeah, Derek, it has. It turned into something I didn't anticipate. But we got to talking about so many different subjects that time has just flown by. Yeah, I didn't realize we'd gone 2.5 hours. I'm probably going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Because in 20 minutes, the honeymooners come on. So I still like watching the honeymooners. You know, that's a good idea, Tom. And do some kind of file share somewhere so everybody can fill it out. Yeah, Rick was only an hour, and here I am 2.5 hours now. That is an excellent idea. YouTubers, um, layouts. You could just put a general location. You don't have to put the address, but just maybe city and state, and then what area you model, size of your layout, things like that. That is a fantastic idea. Wonder how we get that started. Hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying too. Yes, where your layout is representing. But two, I think it would be nice maybe if we knew where everybody was too, if they wanted to do that. Just so if you're in a certain area and you could say, "Hey, I'd like to, visit X." Hmm. Send cotton to Heath. Yeah. Yeah, Daryl's now looking for something else to eat. He ate all the milk duds or malted milk balls, whatever. Cheez Its. Now he's going to eat something else. Yeah, I haven't done a show this long since Jason was here. We were doing an op session. Because I didn't intend to do this, but I have enjoyed it, that's for sure. Yeah, time flies when you're in the fields. Yeah, Derek. Yeah, that'd probably be good too. Scale and size of the layout. Yeah, and like I say, it's going to be a while. It'll still be a while before this finishes drying. That glue will have to dry overnight. That's for sure. Hmm. Well, they ate the whole box. Too bad. Yeah, we'll have to think about that and then put it on some kind of file sharing spot. You know what else? And I wish I had my. Hold on a second. I was gonna write something down, but I can't find my pen or pencil. Oh well. Later, I guess. Okay, Rick. So. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll add plants next Sunday night after I get all this fixed. It's still not drying real well, so I might have to come back with some glue, with some Elmer's glue. Just PVA glue and mist it on as well. And I've got to fix those few mounds that kind of disintegrated when I sprayed the wet water on them too. Oh, so Bob's got a complicated area problem. You're going to have to go take a trigonometry class, Bob, so you can measure. You want to see more KCS engines? Okay. Well, the Bicentennial unit is one of them. The other one looked fairly similar, but I don't have it in here. I've almost finished with it. I've got it out in my workshop. And then the Jeep 7, one of two that were painted black. So there were two black ones in 1976. And what else would be exciting? This was a Jeep 7, was repaired into a Jeep 9 body after an accident. So yeah, sorry, didn't exist in 1976, Derek. It was their bicentennial unit and designed by a 5th grade girl, affectionately known as the Crayola. So, but that's what it looked like. Yeah, the 5th grade girl was, I think it was, the contest was among KCS, the children of KCS employees, and that's the design they decided to go with. Definitely different. I don't think there was another bicentennial unit that looked like this. Say the other one, the other bicentennial unit, it was a SD40-2, and it looked almost the same. The SD40-2, this is it a Kato? Yeah, this is a Kato, and my SD40-2 is an Athearn ready to run. Yeah, it wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't the CEO's daughter. It was like a mid-level executive. So yeah, they gave him a line drawing of an SD40 and said, "Here, fill it in and turn them in, and we'll pick one." And that's the one they picked. So KCS was always kind of, especially back in the 70s and prior to that, was more of a family-oriented railroad. They were, and so they did that kind of stuff. I think in a way it's good. Of course, from what I hear, the engineers were not very happy to be up front with that locomotive. So that that's what happened. In fact, I have a friend, his father-in-law worked for KCS, started back in the 50s and worked through the 90s at KCS. And yeah, my friend took a picture of mine and took it to him, and he said, "That thing." That was that's what his answer was. You know, his comment was. All right, Artie, take it easy. So yeah. But that's what that is what happened. So they did go with that design. And what's funny about this is when I painted it, I had to, the star, you'll notice the star has a red surround on it. That is an odd combination of decals. So these are 1/72nd decals, but they are absolutely the perfect size for this locomotive. The yellow star is from a set of decals that was meant to be for U.S. military vehicles, World War II. So, like a Jeep, would have a yellow star on it. So that's what I used. And then the red surround was actually a decal sheet for Russian MiGs. So the decals from a U.S. Army Jeep and a Russian MiG. So that's where the decals came from. Luckily, they were both 1/72nd scale and they fit perfectly. So just thought that's an odd way to get decals, but oh well, you do what you have to do. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the going back to the Jeep 38, that was. And then, of course, the F unit. Like I said, I'm almost done. I've got to get the couplers on and the window shades. And I need to kind of weather the bottom of it. So the fuel tank and the trucks and all that kind of stuff. So. No, Tom, there wasn't a commercial set available. In fact, nobody's ever really made one before. So when I was a kid, the train club I was in, one of the guys worked for KCS, and he brought jars of the paint, the actual paint they used on the locomotive. He brought it in baby food jars and had somebody make one for him. I think they used an SD40 T-2 because nobody made an SD40 at the time. That was in the 70s. And he had somebody kit bash another locomotive, I think an ST40T or something like that. And then paint it for him with the actual colors that KCS used. Until from that point, nobody I know ever made one till I painted mine. And then I saw somebody on eBay had painted one and sold it, but nobody bought it from him, which was strange. And so after that, I painted the Dash 2, and then I painted an SD40 for a friend of mine. So those are the only ones I know that exist, and there were never any other ones done. So nobody's made a decal set for it. See you, Daryl. Take it easy. No, because and the decals are so sparse. The only thing that this has on it is the number board, which I used some microscale decals for the number boards, but those 3 stars and that was it. And of course the ACI label, but there's no other decals on this. There were no other marks identifying it as KCS or anything like that. They were just, that's how it ran. Very strange. Thanks. Seeing one at an RPM. When? Yeah, that's right. It came with a box of crayons. Yeah, when did you see that, Tom? It wasn't recently, was it? Yeah, that's the 2 numbers. Huh. Oh, well, that's possible then. That's very possible. If somebody made sets, if the Historical Society did a set, they might have done a set in the 90s. I'm just not aware of it. Well, that's good to know. So that would be odd for something like that to come up. But I don't know of anybody else that's ever painted one. I mean, there might be some out there. The one that was done by that fellow, like I said, back in the 70s, that was in the Model Railroad Club, who worked at KCS. If I could ever find that, I would be overjoyed because those are the actual colors. So I had to go by photographs and just get as close as I could, seeing photographs and from my distant memory as a 13-year-old. So because I was 13 when KCS had that locomotive, so I remember seeing it several times. But so, like I said, I had to use photos and my distant memory to come up with the colors as close as I could. So, guys, it's 11 o'clock. I think I'm going to wrap this up with 2 hours and almost 2 hours and 50 minutes. And I appreciate everybody sticking with me because we've had a great time. We just yakking. Most of the time's been yakking. So, but that's fun. That's fun. I'm glad we had a chance to talk so much about different things. So I'm going to cut it off here, and I appreciate everybody sticking with me. But it has been enjoyable, and thanks for watching my cotton field with me. I will see y'all next time as I get this straightened out. See you, John. As I get this straightened out, this cotton field, and start to plant, I'll do another live stream. So yeah, Jim's last show was fun. Long time. All right, well, you take it easy, and everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.